Hello, everyone. I'm Hannah Giles, and we have Juliette Rizkallah, our CMO at SailPoint here, to talk a little bit about AI, ML, and what that means for identity. Juliette, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Anna. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Well, I think we're talking a lot about rethink identity at SailPoint, and we're just inviting everybody to rethink their perception of identity. It's a very interesting topic, the AI and ML. I mean, identity is a technology that has existed for several years, if not, a couple of decades, and has been through many evolution. But I think the introduction in AI and machine learning in the identity management, especially the identity governance place, is just going to be very transformational for enterprise who embrace that tool. And the reason is that, with the explosion of users and the explosion of application that people put in the cloud most of the time, this combination of access and users give you an enormous amount of identity data that is becoming very, very difficult for human to just sort through and understanding, how to not just analyze it, but what action to take for it in terms of granting or revoking or changing access. So from that perspective, machine learning and artificial intelligence start building models that will just automate a lot of this, right? If you think about big data, AI can just absorb all that data much faster than any human and start building some learning from it and recommendation. So I really think that this new decade will look at identity and rethink it with all the power of our artificial intelligence and how it can really optimize not just the use of identity, but what companies can do with identity governance.
Julia, for a lot of people, AI and ML can be very abstract topics, abstract ways of thinking. So can you kind of walk us through what AI and ML in a use case would be for like a real business purpose? Maybe that would help people understand like what it actually means to you to use AI and ML in identity.
Yeah, let me try to bring it home. Let's talk about, approval request, right? Somebody wants access and you gotta approve it. You gotta decide. Today, it can be manual. It could be automated. It goes through approvals of managers and so forth. But imagine having that for a very high number of applications, very high number of users, considering that those users can be your employees, your contractors, your suppliers, your customers, all plugging into your infrastructure and doing something at some point in there. Everybody's asking requests, and usually, it's hard for IT, who is a little bit more remote from the business, to understand, well, should that person have access or not, and therefore it takes time to go back to the manager, get this approval, which means the access can take some time, few hours in the best case, but also sometime few days. With machine learning, they will just look at this access request and look at the peers of that person, look at what they're using, look at the different characteristic of that person based on their role, their job function, and so forth, where they're located, different type of parameters that can be programmed into the machine learning, and then we'll basically automatically say, yeah, it's okay to grant access. This person's in marketing and everybody's using this marketing automation tool, so it's access, no approval, nothing. You can also be a little bit more control, or say the approval is recommended, but it still goes to a manager approval or an IT approval, and it's recommended because usually it's a non-risky application with non-sensitive data, or because in 90% of the case, this was approved. So that's hopefully bring it home for you as an example. Another example on the topic of security, which is also the one that I like the most when I talk about identity governance, is that it's really hard to understand who may have an over provision of access, right? Who may have access to things that they don't need, they should not have. whether they know they have it or not, by the way. Well, artificial intelligence can really build models where you can see outliers, people that are very different than their peers and have access to a set of application that can be a toxic combination, as we talk. And that graphical representation that artificial intelligence brings just, come and alerts people saying, you may want to look at the access profile of this person that is very different of their peer group, and that presents some risk. Then there's an action that can be taken by the IT saying, well, actually that person, is in IT and needs to have those access for admin. And we're looking at it closely, or could be, that person should not have access, and then you can revoke the access very easily, especially in the case of orphan accounts. People don't even know they have that they have access to things. It happens all the time. You and I think, we have access to that set of application, but if you were, going in the back office and see, you may find out that you have access to way more application. You don't even know where they are. They were just provisioned to you either when you join the company, when you switch position within the company. A lot of things like that happen all the time and accumulate, and it's hard for a specific IT team to just keep track of all of that. You've got to have a better way, a more efficient way. And IT governance, with the power of AI, just optimize all that and automate it in a way that is, as I mentioned when I started this topic, is going to be transformational for the company.
Yeah, that really does hit home, I'm sure, for a lot of people. There's too many apps and systems and data to be managed by human alone. So it's great to hear there's a smarter, better way to do it. And we appreciate you sharing those insights, Juliette, and we look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you.